Hello friends and welcome to the Gesundheit Kitchen. My name is Hans Rueffert and I am joined today with my dear friend Dr. Ellen Steinberg. And always love, of course, nutrition is what we talk about. We talk about a lot of stuff, but off camera. I do a lot of traveling, and I know you like to travel as well. And traveling can be a bit of an obstacle course for someone that's dealing with some GI issues. So I wanted to talk to you about sort of strategies to kind of mitigate those pitfalls of, when you're traveling, because you don't always get to control when you eat or what you're eating, or sometimes there's peer pressure when you're traveling abroad and you're in another country, you don't know what's in the food. So let's talk about some of the smart ways to travel and stay healthy.
Absolutely. And of course, part of traveling is getting there.
Yep.
So when you're thinking about getting there, have a realistic expectation. It should take me X number of hours and then add 2 on to that.
Yeah, good point.
Just to allow any time. And primarily it is about keeping track of when you typically eat and not allowing jet lag. Really time it out, not factoring in for jet lag, factoring in for any travels that you have to do. And pack snacks. Pack anything that will keep you going so that you don't have to rely on someone else for your nourishment. So mainly it's about maintaining your own control and having things to help you through.
No, and being proactive, and that's a great point. And especially if we're talking about being on an airplane, you are literally in a tin can in the sky. And yes, they do bring snacks from time to time, but even depending on where you sit, I think, oh, here comes the snacks. It could still be another hour before they make it back around to the cattle class where I'm usually seated. So, I always do try to travel with snacks, and not only just having snacks, but what type of snacks. Because oftentimes what they're serving you on a plane or on a train is going to be something that's small, which might not be a bad thing, but it could be sugary or it could be oversalted. It might not be what you need to maintain you for that journey, right?
Right. So. And there's really nothing wrong depending. Of course, if you're traveling in a car, that's the easiest, because then you can put tons of stuff in your car. But if you're traveling on a plane, or that your capacity you can't take your refrigerator, of course, but you can have those little 100-calorie snack packs, things that will travel well, and just always keep them on hand.
No, I think that's a great idea. And water, of course, when you're talking about an airplane, because of security, there's always that weird thing about you can't bring water through security, but you can buy it on the other side. I think having a bottle of water is always a great thing
Essential.
too. Yeah, and we've talked about in other videos that those sugary drinks, are not the best thing to have, but just having a bottle of water, especially if you bring nuts or crackers and to help those things go down, it's good to have that bottle of water.
And of course, flying dehydrates you even on a good day. So yes, definitely staying hydrated and taking, as you said, your water. And then when they give it out on the plane, I always say just get the bottled water, and then you can take it with you if you don't drink it.
Perfect. Now, you mentioned when you're in a car, you can pack lots of snacks, and it's easy to say that. It's another thing to remember to actually do it.
Right.
So I do drive a lot, and I do a lot of demonstrations and classes, and I'll find myself where, oh my God, I need to eat something. Like I'll start to feel that that sort of cliff coming that I need to eat something. And sometimes even knowing where to stop off the highway to get snacks if you didn't think ahead. I kind of look for grocery stores, right? Rather than trying to go into a convenience store. They might be convenient, but the selection is not that great. So usually if I stop at a grocery store, there's a clean restroom. Sometimes there's a coffee shop inside, but there's typically that little health food aisle where there are things that I know that I can tolerate. It's, especially if it's the same type of grocery store that I have in my hometown, I kind of know the layout of the land. So those become my little stopping points on a long trip as I try to go for grocery stores rather than for convenience stores.
You stole my line. So evidently there must be some good if we both do that. I do the exact same, and you're correct. And not only that, from the restroom side of things, but from selections and all of that. And to that point though, if I have to stop, I do, not to promote any particular place, but a racetrack or a QT, because now they do have healthier sections where you can get that. But a little off the side mom and pop store, not so much selection.
Yeah. It's going to be more expensive too. I mean, just on the frugal side, they're going to charge an arm and leg for something that's not that great. Now, I have had, in fact, truth be told, it happened today when I'm traveling, where I have those blood sugar crashes, right? Because typically we schedule our day around meals and we have our routines, but when we're traveling, our routines are out the window, right? So today, in preparation for this, I forgot my glucose tabs, and that's kind of my emergency backup. So I'm 2 hours away from home and I start to have this crash. In the absence of having your normal thing, you know, not only what should you go for, but how much of something should you go for? So if you start having one of those blood sugar moments, excuse me, when you're out and about, what should we be looking for?
Well, the first thing is that's most important, as you did, you recognized it.
Yeah.
And you paused for it. You don't muscle through it.
I tried for a minute, but yeah.
But so that's a non-option.
Yeah.
And you know, short of that, it's about 15 grams of carbohydrates. Now, sugars are carbohydrates,
right.
So there could be, you know, anything like if there's other ingredients in something, but look at the carbohydrates.
Okay.
Your glucose tabs, as you said, that's about 4 grams of carbohydrates per each, and you said you take about 4.
About 4 of them. That usually kind of writes the
so about 15 grams, a little mini fun-sized candy bar. It can be anywhere from 15 to 20 grams. Okay. So do about 15 to 20 grams of carbohydrates, then wait a minute, wait about 15 minutes, see how you feel. Because you don't want to eat, you know, a giant-sized candy bar, because then you'll go the other way.
And in that moment, it really is sort of a panic attack. Like, I know that sugar is or carbohydrates are the things that are going to kind of right my ship.
Right.
But the propensity is I want to eat a lot of it, right? Because I want it to happen quickly. Like oh my God, I'm falling off a cliff. You're grasping. And so I've done the opposite, or to the extreme, where I then eat too many, you know, and then I feel like, you know, I have to sleep it off, basically.
Right, so you overcorrect the problem.
Yeah.
So just give it a minute and know that even if you eat it faster or more, it's not going to have any better of an effect.
Yeah. Well, and I appreciate you saying recognize it. And I think we all have our own little telltales. For me, usually my face starts to go numb. I'll start to get kind of tingly fingers. But again, when you're traveling and you're in a new environment and you might be jet lagged, it's easy to sort of discount those things, but listen to your body is super important in any context. So I do find, though, that the peer pressure of traveling, especially, let's say I'm in Italy and I'm in a cafe and there's all of these amazing foods, you know, trying to have that little bit of self-control is tough. And so what I typically try to do is share with someone in those moments, right? So if you and I are sitting down, I'm going to have my own espresso, but I'm going to ask if I can have a spoonful of your tiramisu rather than ordering my own, right?
Exactly.
So that's, you know, it's tough to do, especially when you're in another part of the world that's famous for whatever it is. Go for smaller
Definitely smaller
bites.
portions.
Yeah.
And if you're staying at a bed and breakfast or an inn or somewhere that has a refrigerator, know that you can take some back if you want. Of course, if you don't have a refrigerator, don't take it back. But be safe with that. So, and if you're traveling in the States or somewhere you're familiar with and it's a business trip and you don't really care about eating out, I tend to go with the grocery store also, as opposed to eating out at a restaurant. There again, I can carefully choose what I want to eat.
And some of those sort of higher end or fancier grocery stores will have like a hot food bar or a salad bar. And the great thing about that is they're charging you by the ounce. And so instead of having to get a meat and two, you can get a little bite of this, a little bite of that. And so you can graze on that bar. And so I think that's a great, we should promote that somehow, the grocery store, America by Grocery Store.
There
we'll have the tour guide. So, well, awesome. I've got a lot of traveling coming up this year. And so I will, of course, incorporate these tips into my travels. As always, I appreciate you meeting me out here. It's not a bad place to meet in the Botanical Gardens on a nice fall day, but thank you so much for, as always, and you guys at home, take care of yourself, stay healthy, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time at the Gesundheit Kitchen. Thanks so much.